Hello everybody, Infernape Shinjo here, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Anime. And today I have 3 topics that you guys have given to me, and well, 2 topics you guys have given to me, 1 I'm throwing in on my own. And yeah, let's just get started. So up first is Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba. So for starters, in case you haven't seen this show, I'm not going to spoil it because I feel like it's best to walk into this show pretty fresh, but I'll just briefly go over a couple of minor plot points that won't have any spoiler territory and a couple of the characters. So Tanjiro, honestly, just taking a step back after the show is finished, Tanjiro's character is pretty interesting. But at the same time, he's more or less just a standard shonen protagonist. He's here, terrible event happens, and he lives by a moral compass. He never fights unless provoked. He's calm, in a way kind of different from shonen protagonists, at least standard ones like Goku and Naruto. But when it comes to characters like Deku, he's a lot more in the same vein because he's more calm and composed and only really acts out when something's endangering his sister or his family. Now with Nezuko, honestly, there's not really much to talk about. She doesn't have many speaking roles in the show at all. Honestly, the only role that she has is like a speaking role in like the first episode, and that's basically it. I think she does have like speaking roles near the end of the show, this first season, but otherwise she's just there to fight, which is certainly a crazy thought in a shonen anime where a female actually gets to fight. But overall, there's not much that I can talk about with Nezuko without spoiling anything, so I'm gonna keep that to a minimum. Now, Zenitsu. I know that a lot of people don't seem to like Zenitsu because he's a younger Master Roshi, I guess to put it. Well, his introduction, he's basically thinking, well, now I'm part of the Corps with all these Demon Slayers, and I don't think I'm gonna make it. So, I'm gonna find a woman to marry. Which, that alone is just like, okay, that's kind of strange. But at the same time, Zenitsu is more or less, I don't want to say he's here for the comic relief, but in a way he's one half of the comic relief. And I know that people also get upset because he yells all the time and he very rarely fights. Only time that he does fight is when his eyes are closed. Go figure. But I don't know. I can see people being upset with Zenitsu as a character, but it doesn't really bother me that much. Now Inosuke is the other half of the comic relief. And it's funny because I don't remember which video it was. I'm not even sure if the video might even be up still or not. But I remember seeing a video where essentially all 3 of the main leads are all essentially a shonen protagonist. Tanjiro is the calm and collected side like Deku. Zenitsu's kind of like the frantic side, which isn't as common with anime characters unless I'm missing one. And then at the same time, Inosuke is just the wild child, out of control side of the character, like Goku. Basically marching to the beat of their own drum, not even giving a crap what anybody else says. And I know that a lot of people sang this show's praises after episode 19 came out. And honestly, I still think it's alright. I think when I watched it and posted it on Mal, I only gave it like maybe 7, 8, maybe a 9. Because at the same time, the show is good. The fact that Ufotable or Ufotable, however it's pronounced, is animating it and they do good job animating stuff. At the same time, you don't really hear people talk about Demon Slayer until episode 19 came out. If I would have to explain it in a shortened way, I would say that this is probably overhyped, and I'm not even meaning that in a negative connotation, because there are a lot of things that can be still overhyped, but still enjoyable to watch. And at the same time, the plot of it is kind of simple. It's not really a plot that takes much effort to come up with. Like, okay, this happens, now Tenjiro has to go and do this. It's not really a plot that's too out of this world to comprehend. Although at the same time, just because a plot is generic doesn't mean that it's bad. I know at the same time I should just be saying, oh yeah, this show is great, everybody's hyping it up and it's for good reason, whatever. But at the same time, people only talked about it after episode 19. It didn't really get much talking until then. And I know I should be just happy and just say, oh, these people are overhyping it, but that's okay. But, I mean, these are my thoughts. I enjoyed the show, but looking back on it, it was a bit of a pain to watch week to week. I would have much rather binge through multiple episodes. But if you want me to go into a spoiler-filled discussion of Demon Slayer at a later point, I can do that in its own separate video or in a future episode of Let's Talk Anime. But I just wanted to use it as a starting point, just on the off chance anybody hasn't watched it, and I don't want to be the one to spoil anything for them. Up next, we have something that isn't even out yet. Up next, we have Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s. So, for anybody not familiar with the Yu-Gi-Oh! Community and the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime and stuff, Yu-Gi-Oh! Reigns was the last series, and it ended pretty abruptly. I'd say like 30, 40, maybe 50 episodes less than what other Yu-Gi-Oh! Shows did. I think it ended at like in the 120s or something, and it normally would end way later than that. And after that, people were just hearing discussion about this new Yu-Gi-Oh! Show is going to be paying tribute to all the other shows because it's like an anniversary year or something like that. So after this got introduced, a lot of people were on the fence. Because, to start, it looks more like a Card Fight Vanguard sort of thing instead of actual Yu-Gi-Oh! Which makes sense because it's being animated by a different studio this time. But I think the kids are in 5th grade this time, which might be the youngest grade that we've had in a Yu-Gi-Oh! Show. And the whole idea that I got from the show, just from what I've heard, is basically that these kids are going to be dueling to show the adults, hey, dueling can still be fun. Dueling can still be entertaining and whatever. I guess in a way kind of hinting at how Yu-Gi-Oh! Meta is basically, oh, use this deck with these cards and you automatically win. Kind of like, here you go, you don't even have to make an effort making a deck anymore. It can still be fun. But honestly, I think the biggest thing that I can talk about with this, besides the fact that the main female lead just looks pretty cool in my opinion actually. But the only other thing that I can discuss is the fact that the trailer shows a Blue Eyes White Dragon appearing. As a matter of fact, I think that might be Blue Eyes in the background, I'm not sure. Which, I mean, that's the biggest tribute that you can make in Yu-Gi-Oh! The iconic monster Blue Eyes White Dragon. Next to Dark Magician, of course. But I also think that, if I'm not mistaken, the main dude is called Yuga, I think. And something along Yuga makes rush duels, which is a new format, I guess. So I don't know if it's just like Yuga wakes up one morning, I'm gonna make a rush duel, and he just does it. Although, stranger things have happened. Jaden designed Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards and sent them into space, and they actually got printed into real cards. So, making your own style of dueling isn't really crazy to think about in retrospect. But at the same time, it looks kind of out there when compared to other Yu-Gi-Oh! Shows. But Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal was kind of not really well received by the community. And looking back on it, is pretty good. Still being a minor Yu-Gi-Oh fan that I am gonna check out the show when it drops in April, but I don't know. At the same time, I want to be optimistic and say this is gonna be good, but I'm not sure what the studio has done besides this at the moment. It might have honestly done Card Fight Vanguard. That would make so much sense. But you're going to have to let me know if you're going to check out this show, because it's kind of polarizing, honestly, at this point. So going back to the older videos that I did, I always took 2 topics that you guys want me to discuss and one of my own anime that I've been watching and put them in a video. And to be fair, I don't really need to farm this out. It's School Rumble. You've seen the thumbnail. You've seen the title. It is School Rumble. And it's a funny story because I think one of my subscribers made a video that involves one of the School Rumble openings, but I couldn't watch it because it was blocked in my country or something like that. I can't remember the details. But when I saw the title School Rumble, I thought, okay, what is this? And I thought it was a video game. I might be wrong, I might be right, I'm not sure. But then I was just scrolling through Hulu downstairs after work one day, and I saw, oh, here's School Rumble. I read what it's about. Sounds interesting. I'll check it out. And I'm literally laughing every couple of minutes. To put the plot of this show simply, which I'm not sure if I can manage, but I'll try. We have Tenma Tsukamoto and her sister Yakumo. That's one group. Tenma has her own friends, Eri, Miko, and Ayaka, I believe. Honestly, Ayaka is the one that's kind of not really doing much in retrospect in terms of the rest of the characters. But we got Tenma, who's in high school, and she has a crush on this dude, Karasuma, who's a loner, kind of an oddball. Oddball, that's a good way to call him. But at the same time that Tenma is trying to get with Karasuma, Kenji Haruma, who is a delinquent, because we gotta have a delinquent in the show, also likes Tenma. So it's a freaking hilarious love triangle, and it ends with basically nobody confessing their feelings. If you want an accurate description of what this show is and a way to compare it, the Anime Gamers that came out a couple of years ago, because it's basically just, oh, I wanted this to happen, but this didn't happen. I can't think of the word right now. I want to say misconceptions, but that's not the word. I can't find the word that I'm looking for, but basically out of context. That's basically what it is. Like how Kenji Haruma likes Tenma, but then at the same time, people are thinking that he's falling for Eri because of awkward circumstances and stuff. I think honestly it works better than Gamers, because with Gamers it's just, oh, this character is thinking this when it's actually this, and they just don't talk to each other and talk it out for whatever reason, I'm not sure why. But with School Rumble, it makes total sense that they can't talk it out perfectly, because they're basically all stupid in their own way. And honestly, with School Rumble, even though it has a much larger cast than Gamers, it does well to make me remember all of their names. Like, we got Tenma, Eri, Miko, Mikoto, in a way, Ayaka, Yakumo, Kenji, Karasuma, Sarah, Ichijo. Oh, that girl that was just introduced. I only watched season 1 and 1 episode of season 2. So if anything happens in season 2, I'm not aware of it yet. But you got all these characters and all of these plot threads weaving these characters together. And when you see these two characters meet up, you have to think to yourself, oh yeah, here's what their relationship is. It's just pretty cool. And I can see from looking on videos, people want a season 3 of this. But it's been a long time. So season 3 is probably not going to happen, but I'm enjoying it. I might make a follow-up on this when I finish season 2 if something that drastic happens. But otherwise, I just wanted to talk about this show regardless. So that's going to be today's episode of Let's Talk Anime. Let me know if you enjoyed by hitting that like button, subscribe if you haven't, and if you have any topics for Let's Talk Anime, leave them down in the comment section and I'll get to them when I have a chance. But until next time, Momentai.